Land Before Time, The Mark of the Longneck, Chapter 17. Trapped in Quicksand. Littlefoot, Shorty, Ollie were walking through the jungle following Jesse the lemur. So how did you three get here? Jesse asked. It's a long story, Littlefoot replied nervously. Oh yeah, it's mostly his fault that we were here, Shorty replied, annoyed. Suddenly, Littlefoot whacked his tail into Shorty's face. Ouch, Shorty shouted in pain. So anyway, do you live here? Littlefoot asked. Oh yes, I live here all my life, ever since my mother died, Jesse replied. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Littlefoot replied. Oh, it's fine, but she told me something that sticks with me to this day. She said, I'm always with you even if you can see me. I'm inside your heart, Jesse replied. Tears started to form in Littlefoot's eyes, as he remembered that's what his mother said before she died. Hey Littlefoot, are you okay? Jesse asked worriedly. Oh, I'm alright, Littlefoot replied happily. Minutes later, they came across a wooden log. Jesse ran across the log. Come on guys, Jesse replied. I'm first, Shorty replied, annoyed. Shorty walked across the log, then Littlefoot walked across. Finally Ollie walked across the log. Suddenly, the log broke and Ollie fell through. Ollie screamed. Littlefoot, Shorty, Jesse turned around. Ollie, Littlefoot shouted panically. Littlefoot ran down the slope to find Ollie. Minutes later, Littlefoot reached the bottom of the slope. Littlefoot sees Ollie in quicksand. Ollie tried to get out. Ollie, don't move. The more you struggle, the more you sink faster, Littlefoot explained panically. Ollie stood still. Shorty and Jesse arrived behind him. Shorty, listen. If I hold onto my tail, I'll jump in and get Ollie, and you pull me out, Littlefoot explained panically. Do you remember the last time your plan went? Shorty replied, annoyed. Do it now, Littlefoot shouted angrily. Shorty jumped in, shocked by Littlefoot's anger. Shorty wrapped his front legs around Littlefoot's tail. Littlefoot then jumped in the quicksand. Littlefoot wrapped his front legs around Ollie's body. Alright, pull us out, Littlefoot shouted panically. Shorty pulled Littlefoot and Ollie, but Shorty struggled. Littlefoot and Ollie began to sink faster. The quicksand was now up to their necks. Shorty pulled harder, Littlefoot shouted panically. Eventually Shorty yanked Littlefoot and Ollie from quicksand. Littlefoot and Ollie landed on the ground. Are you two alright? Jesse asked worriedly. Littlefoot and Ollie stood up. Yes, we're fine, Littlefoot replied happily. Thanks, Shorty, Littlefoot replied happily. Shorty smiled. Come on, let's get going, everyone, Jesse replied happily. Right behind you, Shorty replied. We better get going as well, Littlefoot replied. Littlefoot, Ollie replied softly. Yes, Ollie, Littlefoot asked. Thank you for saving me, Ollie replied happily. Oh, no problem, Ollie, Littlefoot replied happily. Littlefoot and Ollie smiled at each other happily. Then they followed Shorty